getting a chance to dial in the end of the week and going into yesterday on LSU, and just always focusing on continuing to improve. I think that our guys still really believe that that's the case. That needs to be the mindset we always have in our program. But heading into this game against LSU, we expect nothing but their best, a high level of energy. It's going to be a great environment. I'll just add that we need our fans to continue to be what they've been and show up and, continue to make Bryant-Denny Stadium the hardest place to play in the country.
I'll have more in a moment.
Tide fans, are you ready for game day in Tuscaloosa? Don't miss the ultimate pregame experience this season at Vector Security Champions Lane. Opening 4 hours before each home game, this fan fest has everything you need to get pumped for kickoff. Located next to the Walk of Champions, you'll enjoy live music, player autographs, the best food trucks from all over Alabama, and ice-cold beer in our Legends Lounge beer garden, where there's never a cover charge. Check out ChampionsLane.com each week for the latest updates. Roll Tide!
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Vector Security Champions Lane. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Scott Tyson here with your 97.7 ESPN The Zone Sports Minute. Monday Night College Basketball, 15th ranked Alabama gets a career-high 22 points from LeBaron Philon as the Crimson Tide opened the season with a 91-62 win over North Dakota. 20th ranked Auburn opened the Stephen Pearl era with a 95-90 overtime win over Bethune-Cookman. Newcomer Keyshawn Hall would lead the Tigers with 28 points, including 16 of 18 free throws. Alabama A&M gets a season-opening 80-60 win over Blue Mountain. Monday Night Football, Arizona's Jacoby Brissett would throw for 2 touchdowns, run for another for the injured Kyler Murray. Cardinals end a 5-game skid, downing the Dallas Cowboys 27-17. College football news, Auburn interim head football coach DJ Durkin announcing that Derek Nix will be the primary play caller on offense for the Tigers as they take on Vanderbilt Saturday. Make sure and download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I abuse you.
You're tired. Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the Junkyard Dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Welcome in to a Top 10 Tuesday in the Doghouse. I am John Abraham, and this is the John Abraham Show. We've got a list for you today. Look, it's a Tuesday, Top 10. It kind of all works hand in hand, plus the usual Tuesday guests as we take a closer look at Alabama and Auburn moving forward throughout their football season. One team on an upwards trajectory, the other one on the downwards. But, of course, with the Hugh Freeze firing, some would say that is on the upward trajectory. And, of course, getting into a little bit of the Atlanta Braves news as they bring in a new manager. So there's plenty to unpack today, including some thoughts on last night's game. And if you know where you want to go, well, you want to hop in on those phone lines, 256-576-4977, whether you're listening in Huntsville, Winchester, Nashville, over the air, or outside the Tennessee Valley. Listen on the app or online. It doesn't really matter as long as you guys know that phone number. Again, 256-576-4977. Go ahead and jump on in. The text window is also open. We read and react to those over the airway all throughout the show. 732-982. Well, actually, I got that wrong already, but regardless, 732-29. I don't think that's right. But regardless, 732-982-7232. 7469 is the one that I know, and that's the one you should know as well. And finally, you can also watch the show as well over on WZZN TV on YouTube, Facebook, X, as well as Thom Abraham Show's X feed. Coming up on the show in hour number 1, you're going to get Kennington Lloyd Smith of the AP in Tuscaloosa as he joins us on the beat with the Tide as Alabama looks forward to hosting LSU Saturday night. And we have to get into a little bit of preparation for those headless Tigers. What will they be doing on offense with Brian Kelly and his OC Gunzo? Frank Wilson takes over as the interim head coach, while Alex Atkins will run the offense and call the plays. He was the run game coordinator under Brian Kelly, and Blake Baker stays on the staff as the defensive coordinator, as there's just a total wipeout of staff over there with LSU. We'll also get into the Dre Kirkpatrick situation with him as well. Plus, the Tide opened the basketball season last night with an easy win over something called the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. It's not a terrible team. It's not. Last year, they were really good. This year, not as good, but Alabama looks really fierce, and I think it's going to be a very fun season for all you basketball fans following the Crimson Tide. And then at the top of the one, Justin Furgeson of the Auburn Observer is in the know with his thoughts on the Auburn as they go from their coaching search and Hugh Freeze to what they can find now. And on top of that, Stephen Pearl's debut. The Tigers went down and faced off against Bethune-Cookman and had to go all the way into overtime before prevailing with a 5-point win. And one mild upset last night was 13th Arizona beating number 3 Florida, of course, former national champions last season. But back in Mission Control, playing the platters that matter and the stacks that wax, answering the phones. Actually, not doing much of that or much of any of that other stuff that I said. It is one Mr. Thom Abraham, a.k.a. Mr. Miyagi, a.k.a., well, I would say my master at that.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
Bullies in the schoolyard. Can't stop it.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Brilliant.
He's got an incredible ass.
When I had my ulcers, I was hurting razor blades.
Get off my lawn.
I don't care how many Dago, Guinea, what greaseball goombas come out of the woodwork.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
That's a big dog.
Mr. Miyagi, how are you doing today, sir?
What are all these buttons over here? What are all these flashing lights and everything supposed to mean?
Don't press any of them.
What am I supposed to do with this? Look, I promised AC that I would produce my own show if in fact the Dodgers came back and won the World Series, which they did. So, there you go. I've just produced the segment or the very, very beginning of the show. Okay, so that's a good job by you getting us started. But, that's it.
Come on now.
I'm not answering any phones. I'm not doing anything of the sort.
You got to throw a little bit of love my way with that one. I was, that
was good. You know what? That was actually really good. That was really good. You did a wonderful job with it. I'm done producing. I just want you to know that. Can I hand this back to you now? I think I've done my thing. I produced the first 7 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
Okay. I produced 7 minutes of the show. And by the way, this is the way a producer's supposed to dress. I don't know if you knew that or not. I don't know if you.
Oh, you got the producer fit on.
Am I on camera yet?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay, you put me on there.
Camera.
This is the way a producer is supposed to dress. So that's why I dressed up a little bit today to produce your show.
You wore a tie and everything. Okay.
I'm the guest speaker tonight at the Huntsville Quarterback Club.
There you go. That makes sense.
So now that's that's the deal right there. They were supposed to have Holly Rowe, and she was on a little Megan. I'm like Mitch Trubisky in that progressive, insurance ad. You know what I mean?
You are the backup.
I'm the backup. I'm always the backup. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we're going to Thom Abraham. Yeah, we'll grab him. That's okay. No, I'm thrilled to do it and looking forward to it a little bit later on as well. So good job by John. It's good stuff. Look, the only thing I ever produced was you and your 8 siblings. Pretty much that's it.
I think that's
you and
enough.
your brothers and sisters.
I think that's enough.
That's all I produce. By the way, next Thursday and Friday, the John and Joe Show returns as I will be on assignment with Bassmaster in Florida at Lake Okeechobee for the final elite qualifier event of the year, where 10 new elite anglers will be christened. 3 full days of TV coverage there from the event, which I'll be a part of. And I'm hosting the weigh-ins, which is also carried over the on TV there. So yeah, I'm going to be, these dudes are going to cover for me next, not this Thursday and Friday, next Thursday and Friday. I'll do the show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from Florida, poolside. A
little vacation.
Yeah. Well, no.
It's always a vacation.
No, I'll be working. I'll be working, all day long those days. I'll be working.
Look, I think a lot of our listeners, as well as myself, would love to work on the poolside almost every single day.
I get down there. I'll leave this Friday after the show. I'll take off, and we'll get about 4 or 5 hours in, something like that. And then I'll get there sometime Saturday afternoon, just in enough time to watch the LSU-Alabama game with my oldest daughter, who's a huge Bama fan, and her husband, who's a Gators fan, but he'll pull for Bama, in these situations like that as well. So I'll be there in time for that on Saturday night. And then Sunday, get this, because my sister and her husband live there as well. And of course, my parents, who are 86 years old, your grandparents, are still alive. And they're there, as I assume they'll still be alive by the time we get there this weekend. So they're there down there as well. Plus my oldest daughter, her husband, and their 2 kids. So we are going to have early Thanksgiving in Florida. We're having Thanksgiving on Sunday there while I'm down there. And then this way, those folks don't have to come up here for Thanksgiving Day, which is going to be good.
Well, they don't get to see me, though.
No, they're not seeing any of the rest of the family.
Yeah,
they're not. They weren't planning on coming up anyway. I mean, the old folks, it's getting hard for them to travel. And my Caroline, my oldest daughter, and her husband were not. They come up every other year, and so on. So it's so they're not coming up this go around. So that's the way that's going to roll. So we're going to do that there. And then Sunday morning, before we do the turkey and all that other kind of stuff, I'm going to go to Sarasota with my son-in-law and my granddaughter because she's playing in a soccer tournament.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to go see that. I'm going to go hang out with him on that and then come back. And it's going to be a busy time, okay? It's a bit busy weekend.
Yeah.
Busy weekend there.
Sarasota's a nice vacation spot as well. If you didn't know.
Not vacation, but in 2 days, 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, working in my southern office and doing the show poolside as well. And then Thursday, Friday, it'll be the John and Joe Show.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. But honestly, if there was a pool to the side of us while we were doing it,
yeah.
I mean, this job is great, but
great job.
Anytime you're near a pool, it just makes any job 10 times better. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, we got plenty to get into here today. Today is the first iteration of the College Football Playoff Committee poll coming out. And from now on, this is the one that we will refer to as in the rankings. This is the only one that matters. You know what I mean? So from now on, when it says 1v6 or whatever, this is what we're talking about. These are the only rankings that matter. The AP and the coaches' rankings don't matter anymore. And remember, a massive change this year whereby the teams that get the bye into the second round will be straight up the top 4, regardless of conference affiliation. So what that means is that the ACC and Big 12 champs will be relegated to their rightful places at the back of the bus. It stands to reason right now that the 2 teams in the SEC and Big 10 championship games will be the top 4 teams. And I believe that tonight, that's what you're going to see. Now, unfortunately, we still have the, quote, top 5 conference champs getting in the tournament, which means a team like, let's say, Memphis, I think that's who you're going to see tonight. Memphis, who is ranked at the bottom of the top 25 in the AP and the coaches poll and is 32nd in FPI, they would get a spot in the 12-team field, knocking out a much more deserving team, probably a team from the SEC, to be honest with you. It's going to be fascinating to see how the committee views strength of schedule. That's something that they insist is going to play a big role this time around. So we'll see how that works out. Because when you look at strength of schedule, Ohio State and Indiana, who will probably be 1-2, their strength of schedule is nothing compared to Texas A&M and Alabama, who will likely be 3-4. So we'll see if there's any changes all the way down the list. It'll be interesting to see where the gaps are in that deal tonight. Now, Austin Mock of The Athletic, he rolled out his predictions on what the bracket will look like with 4 weeks to go in the regular season. He has 4 SEC teams in there, 3 from the Big Ten, with current 2-loss SEC teams, Oklahoma, Texas, and Vandy, all missing out. Now, I can see that. I can see that happening, especially if Alabama tags Oklahoma with their 3rd loss next week. And by the way, that's a 2:30 game now. The game time has been announced for that. I can see Georgia beating Texas, tagging them with their 3rd loss between the hedges. And I can see Tennessee beating Vandy. And that's assuming that Vandy beats Auburn and Kentucky at home. But they're favored in both of those games. So if Vandy were to get to Knoxville with a 9-2 record, all right, 3-loss Tennessee would knock Vandy off if they, knock Vandy out of the playoff if they were to win that game. So it'll be now, if Texas upsets Georgia between the hedges, okay, fine. They still have to face the Aggies then in the final game of the regular season at home. So we'll take a look at those projections and see where we're at. Today is also the trade deadline in the NFL. The Titans have made another move. There is interesting, by the way, there's a big trade went down. The biggest trade so far of the day has gone down. Sauce Gardner, the top cornerback in the NFL from the New York Jets, goes to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-rounders. That's a lot to pay for a corner. 2 first-rounders go from Indianapolis to the Jets for Sauce Gardner. Okay, so that deal goes down. Supposedly, Jerry Jones last night is like, I got a trade. I got a trade working here. We're gonna wait till tomorrow. We're gonna announce this trade. It's gonna be a big trade. I thought maybe it was Jeffrey Simmons. Some people thought maybe it was Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? Which would take a boatload of first-round picks to get. Some people thought maybe Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans, and the Titans would get some couple of first-rounders or something like that out of the deal. It turns out it's a scrub linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals. The worst defense, the only team in the NFL that's worse defensively. I'm looking at you, so I probably should be looking at the camera. The only team that's worse in the NFL defensively than the Cowboys is the Bengals. And this kid is now splitting time with a 4th-round draft pick rookie this year, and he goes from the Bengals. They're like, Cowboys are like, okay, our defense sucks. We're pretty bad defensively. We need help, right? We really need a linebacker. Let's see if we can't get somebody who is on the bench from the worst defensive team in the league. There is one team in the league that's worse than us defensively. Let's grab one of their linebackers. I mean, you're going to be kidding me. I mean, maybe they're making another move, but as the great Troy Aikman said last night on the Monday Night Football, I had to see it in the replay because I couldn't get it on account of this whole YouTube ESPN thing, which is really starting to annoy me. But Troy Aikman said whatever trade Jerry's working on, he should cancel that trade because there's no sense doing anything. All right, no sense doing anything. They're a disaster. And it's a rotten, stinking, rotten shape. I actually like the Cowboys. They're one of the teams I like. They're one of the top 6 or 7 teams in the league. I think it's a better NFL when the Cowboys are good. They're not only bad, they're a dysfunctional disaster right now. Just the way it is. That's my take on that. There's also an interesting projection by CBS Sports that puts the Titans in the 2. Let me explain this here. All right. The Titans, they show the Titans in the 2 spot in the upcoming NFL draft. They show the Titans trading out of that 2 spot with the Cleveland Browns for the 6th spot, and the Browns taking Ty Simpson with the 2nd pick in the draft. I got to be honest with you, I'm all for that. Go ahead and sign me up for that. All right, I got some other stuff to get to that's pretty interesting as well, so we'll get to that too. But I'll tell you what, I don't know what kind of mindset he's going to have right now, but let's get to the Phillip and see if he's okay, because I'm a little worried. We had to take his belt and his shoelaces after the game last night, because we're a little bit concerned about the Phillip with his Dallas Cowboys, who were supposed to win last night and then go on to win the NFC East and then win the Super Bowl. And it doesn't appear that will happen. Phillip, welcome to the show. How are you?
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting. Today's your football league's pretend day, where a bunch of people sit around and pick who's doing what.
Yeah.
In other words, if the world were to end, and we knew when it was going to end in a certain amount of days, and we had a playoff system,
right,
that we had to get played out.
Yeah.
Unlike the NFL, where you can look at it right now and say who's who. Your favorite football league has a bunch of people, not to mention chicks, discussing who they think should be there. But I'll leave that there.
Well, there's 131 teams. I mean, what do you want them to do? I mean, you got to do it that way, because there's 131 teams. Now, if there was one of these things here with the NFL and they were doing the poll and who would be in, right now, Jacksonville would be in and Kansas City would be out. Detroit would be in and Chicago would be out. Those would be the last teams in those there. So there would be 14 teams in the playoff, in the poll, if you were doing a poll right now. But you know what? To your point, if you were doing a poll, Kansas City would be in, Jacksonville would be out. That's how they would do it, right? That's what they would do. They would probably put Dallas at 3-5-1. They'd put Dallas in, and they'd put like the San Francisco 49ers, who are 6-3. They'd put them out. That's probably what they would do.
The Dallas Cowboys are to the NFL what the SEC is to college football.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not go down that road.
You'd be better off. You'd be better off if they had a poll in NFL, because you'd have a shot of getting in. Because this system they got in the NFL, where you actually got to win games to get into the playoffs, is not good for Dallas.
Contrary to popular belief, the Cowboys have one team ahead of them, and they suck. And that's the Eagles. All we do, we're only a couple of games behind them. We have them on our schedule. We win the East, we're in the postseason. This thing ain't over yet.
Yeah, winning the East, you better start thinking about wild card. You're behind Detroit right now in the wild card. You might sneak in. You're 2.5 games behind Detroit. You're 3.5 games behind the Philadelphia Eagles with 8 to go. Now, you're not catching the Eagle.
We can absolutely catch the Eagles. Here's what's frustrating for me, and I don't understand why I have to be the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, but here's what's frustrating to me, in all seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
If I owned that team, or if I was the head coach of that team, last night on the Cardinals' opening offensive series, when I watched my defense stop them on first down, it's second and long. Stop them on second down, it's third and long. First down. Stop them on first down, second and long. Stop them on second down, third and long. First down. At that point, that's when I go and rip the headset off of the defensive coordinator and have Dallas Cowboys security escort that jackass, no good piece of crap out of the stadium. I don't give a damn who they give the headset to.
Mm-hmm.
That dude has got to go. Those are professional athletes out there. They're good football players, or they wouldn't be in the freaking NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There is no excuse to stop teams on first down and second down and give them first down on third down and stop them on first down and stop them on second down and give them first down on third down over and over and over and over again. That's a problem, dude. That ain't the players. That's not the players. It might be the players listening to the coaches and doing what the coaches are telling them to do. That is crap.
Maybe it would be better if you had a stud pass rusher. You know what I mean? If you had somebody like, how the Packers got that Micah Parsons guy. If you had one of those, maybe you could make a play on third down and long, but you don't have a stud pass rusher.
Who we had last year and the year before, and do a damn thing with? You mean then? No, that's bull crap, dude. That is crap. I don't know what's going on. This is.
You're going to beat the Raiders after the bye. You'll beat the Raiders. You'll be an underdog at home against the Eagles, and on Thanksgiving Day against the Chiefs at home. Going to be a dog in that one. You're going to get whacked by the Lions at the Lions on a night game, on a Sunday night game. You're going to probably you'll beat you beat the Vikings at home, lose to the Chargers, win at the Commanders, who are a mess at this point in time, and maybe win at the Giants. So you finish with 2 road games at the end. I think you only got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you got 4 wins left. I think you're 7 and 9 and 1. That's what you're going to be your final record. 7, 9 and 1. That's what you're going to be.
You're saying we lose to Detroit in Detroit?
Yeah.
Like, who lost to Detroit in Detroit this weekend? Oh, that's right. Nobody.
Yeah.
Who beat the crap out of Detroit in Detroit on Sunday?
You're not even, but I don't think you're as good as Minnesota right now.
Well, all I'm saying is this thing ain't over yet.
No, it's not over. But I mean, right now by Hoyle, you're going to be a dog against the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Chargers, and you'll be favored against the Raiders, Vikings, Commanders, and Giants. And the way they're playing, they're liable to drop one of those. But all right, that's a
we win the Super Bowl. But I got to say this really quick because I screwed this up yesterday and I didn't mention it, and I felt horrible about it. And it might have been why, I don't know, the Tom Landry curse continues. But rest in peace, Bob Trumpy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Dude,
he was good.
He was solid, man. That was a solid dude. And I saw somebody. It's not been a lot of talk about it.
No.
But I did hear somebody on ESPN say, and I concur 100%. He was like John Elway's. What's the word I'm looking for? Damn it. Troy Aikman said this about John Madden. He was his, anyway, when you heard Bob Trumpy, it was a big freaking game.
Do you remember who his broadcast partner was most of the time?
Yes. Oh crap. You'd ask me that. And now I can't say it.
Don Criqui. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. I'm Don Criqui. Those were good. They were good, man. And they would do the Orange Bowl and stuff. Thanks for the call, Philip. That's a good job by you. Don Criqui. It was Don Criqui and Bob Trumpy. All right, we got to get a break. When we come back, Wolverine Dan, if you could stay there, that would be great. If not, circle back to me. When we come back, though, Kennington, Lloyd Smith from Tuscaloosa is next on the Thom Abraham Show, hosted by Thom Abraham.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Does it really matter which dealership you buy from? Short answer, yes it does. Hello, I'm Don Wessels for Woody Anderson Ford. Before you buy, take just a minute to check out the dealership itself, because where you buy can make all the difference. Sure, customer reviews tell you what others think, and that's good. But when Ford Motor Company itself recognizes a dealer, that's something special. Woody Anderson Ford has earned Ford's Triple Crown Award, an honor achieved by only the top 1% of Ford dealers in America. It's based on superior customer satisfaction, sales excellence, and exceptional service performance. In other words, the best of the best. So when you're ready for your next car, truck, or SUV, come see how we earned our Triple Crown status. Superior service, sales excellence, over-the-top delivery, that's Woody Anderson Ford. And we hope to see you soon.
The AVCA Beach Volleyball Pairs National Championships are back in Huntsville this November. 64 of the nation's top pairs in collegiate beach volleyball are hitting the sand in a weekend packed with big serves, wild rallies, and high-flying action. It's fast, it's fun, and best of all, it's free. You don't want to miss the excitement live, so grab your sunglasses, rally your crew, and join us at John Hunt Park Sand Volleyball Courts from November 7th to the 9th.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer again. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is extremely proud to have recently received numerous awards, including being voted Best Wings in the state of Alabama. Other awards received include Best All-Around Restaurant, Best American Restaurant, #1 Sports Bar, Best Chef, Best Wings, and Best Dining Experience. Thank you for 43 legendary years, and we look forward to providing you an award-winning dining experience at every visit. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance, the sponsors of the Owen Home Appliance Friday Trifecta all fall long. Fall is here, and I know you hunters out there are looking for a new freezer to put this year's harvest in. Owen Home Appliance has you covered with the best in the business for chest freezers, even some with like real tree camo on them. Even if you're not a hunter, the deals you'll find at Owen Home Appliance are second to none. You need to check out the interactive showroom in Lacey Springs, or just go to OwenHomeAppliance.com to learn more. That's Owen Home Appliance Center. Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Here on a Tuesday in the Doghouse. Glad that you are with us. LSU week for Alabama. A lot of uncertainty around this game, too, as far as what LSU's bringing to the table. It's their first game without Brian Kelly. They also fired their offensive coordinator. So Ellis Atkins is going to run the offense, call the plays as well. Now, he was the run game coordinator under Brian Kelly, so you wonder whether or not, you might see more of that in this particular game. You really don't know. And, of course, Frank Wilson takes over as the interim head coach as well. Joining us to talk about that game and more, Kennington, Lloyd Smith, the third of the AP in Tuscaloosa on the beat with the Tide, and he is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Kenny, welcome back. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Let's start with the Dre Kirkpatrick story. Followed this kid. I covered him. I did a couple of his games when he was at Gadsden City. And, fine player that's very valuable on special teams. And he's been playing more and more in the nickel and dime type sets. And he gets clipped over the weekend. And now Kalen DeBoer said that he is suspended indefinitely. What can you tell us about the situation and what went on, what he exactly was arrested for?
Yeah. So according to a report from AL.com, there were some charges, including reckless driving, eluding, and speeding. And then last night, the police report came out, and it was just said that Dre Kirkpatrick was evading the police. They actually tried to stop the car physically, or like by striking the car, and he was still able to get away. And then obviously he was later arrested. So an unfortunate situation, something that hopefully that Dre can learn from. And Kalen DeBoer, pretty strict punishment. I know the details of the incident are pretty serious, but an indefinite suspension on a first offense for reckless driving is not something that you typically see in college football. So I think it was a good way for him to set the tone and just kind of establish a zero tolerance policy, because I feel like if the first offense is an indefinite suspension, then a second offense would probably be removal from the team.
Yeah, I thought that too. And if it's a scenario where they're going to let the legal system play out, he's gone for the season, because these things don't get taken care of quickly, right? Unless there's some sort of a deal that is made or whatever. Why is he running from the police? That to me, I wonder is, okay, I get that you were speeding, but they had to try and stop you and barricade you and all of that kind of stuff. The issue of why would you be running from the police is the one that is curious to me, I guess.
Yeah. We'll just have to see, I guess, how it all plays out. So, like I said, just an unfortunate situation for him, and then kind of puts Alabama in somewhat of a bind, lose a little bit of depth in your secondary. Like you said, he's a really good special teams player, and I think the other part of it is just, for DeBoer, it's just, how do you kind of handle this type of situation? Because this is his first in-season arrest, obviously, as Alabama's head coach. This might be the first arrest in Alabama's program since he's been the head coach. I'm not sure about that one, but definitely the first in-season. So for him to set the tone in this way, I think is probably my biggest takeaway.
And I hope I'm not misremembering this, but I'm just thinking back as to how Nick Saban handled these situations in the past. And, typically there would be like some sort of, we'll handle it in-house type punishment. And then they would let the legal process play out. We would see players play, in the interim while they're letting the process play out, and then react to it, once there's a deal or a conviction or whatever. I think that's the way it was handled in the past. So I do believe that this is a, I'm thinking of Kirby Smart too, with all of the issues they've had with the driving infractions and so on. And, I can't really think of one that is this strict on, something like this happening as a first timer.
Yeah. And I'm not sure about what his disciplinary policies were at Washington and otherwise, but I definitely think it sends a strong message. Also, Alabama, they're in a spot right now where they really need to keep this momentum rolling. The program seems to be in the right place. I think this is also a way just to put it to bed without any distraction, right? Like, you say, okay, we're handling it internally, and then 2 weeks later, it's like, okay, is Dre Kirkpatrick going to play this week? Or, what's the situation there? I think it just kind of quells all the questions and shuts the process down from their end as far as like having to address it just like right then and there. So I think that might have something to do with it as well. It's just like, nip this thing in the bud, let the process play out, but don't let it be, even if it's a small thing, something that could, be a potential distraction for the team.
There's a report out that has Ty Simpson going number 2 now overall in the NFL draft this upcoming year. Now, we know that he's a big Tim Tebow fan. He wears 15 because of Tim Tebow, and he's very strong in his faith. And famously, Tebow ran it back. They had not won a national championship in that particular year, Tebow's junior year, and he came back for a final year. Is there any thought that in this case, and now guys are getting paid, and Ty Simpson's deals are somewhere north of $1 million in NIL, it's still not NFL money. Is there any thought that, short of a national championship, that Ty Simpson may actually return, or do they do everything in your mind? Do you think it's, these are his final games as the quarterback at Alabama?
Yeah, I think somewhat of how the season ends will play a factor in it, because he definitely has, waited his turn and obviously has a deep love for Alabama. But also, with all due respect to Tim Tebow, he wasn't getting mocked number 1, number 2, top 5. We're talking about a lot of money and a potential sure thing, because next year, there's no telling what the quarterback market is going to look like next year, right? Arch Manning, it seems to be somewhat figuring it out. If he's lights out next year, you're not QB1. Arch Manning is going to be QB1. What if DJ Lagway figures out what if Lenore Sellers? What if he comes back? There's so much, I guess, uncertainty in terms of where you could be slotted next year. Even if you come back and has a great year, he's not the athletic specimen of those other ones, so their ceilings are going to be perceived higher. I think him being in the top 5 right now, if that were to carry through the rest of the season, it would be pretty difficult to turn that down. You really don't see too often top 5 picks, consensus deciding to run things back. So I think the Penn State thing, not that Alabama would be like Penn State, but I just think that sometimes when you decide to come back, things can sometimes go awry. More times than not, when the NFL is calling, you should probably pick up the phone, especially if you're not that high.
Yeah, Tebow really wasn't even considered a first rounder, and it was a little bit surprising when the Broncos took him near the bottom of the first round. Kennington, Lloyd Smith with us here, and you didn't even mention Julian Sand, who is now the favorite. Now he's the Heisman favorite. Julian Sand playing against a relatively weak schedule, not an SEC schedule for sure, but I think a lot of Alabama fans kind of keep an eye on what Julian Sand is doing, especially vis-a-vis what Ty Simpson is doing, because you can make a case along with the Mendoza kid at Indiana that maybe these are the 3 best quarterbacks out there, with all due respect to Dante Moore.
Yeah, definitely. And Julian Saint is another one who's going to be draft eligible next year. So you add him to the list of guys that, Ty will potentially have to be compared to, versus a year like this where it's really just kind of him and Mendoza as the only 2 guys. And then Dante Moore is another one who's probably going to be in next year's class. So the thing with Julian Saint, he's unbelievably accurate. Like, competition aside, he's making some impressive throws, and he's showing off a little bit of his athleticism, and he's just continuing to get better and better. So it would have been interesting to see what could have been if there was could you imagine if they would have had Ty Simpson and Julian Saint and Keelan Russell in the same room, potentially? That would have been unbelievable. Or if Nick Saban never retires and he goes and gets another blue chipper from, Keelan Russell's class, what that quarterback room could have looked like. But, I think Alabama's doing just fine. And, for Ohio State, what an incredible gift of Alabama players, right? Julian Saint, Caleb Downs, Seth McLaughlin. Awesome guys. So, that's the thing about, high school recruiting now for fans to remember is, like, even if somebody doesn't pick you on signing day, sometimes being the second school ends up being the best way to go about it.
Yeah, it's like Alabama North up there right now. And, it was a funny comment that Nick Saban made about, I'm the idiot that kept him on the bench. But it's interesting to think about that comment. I don't think he was throwing shade at Jalen Milroe. And Milroe did a lot of great things in Saban's last year and certainly in Kalen DeBoer's first year. But there was always that feeling that when it all came down to good on good, that Milroe just wasn't well-rounded enough to be able to make those plays to help you win those kind of games. And it is interesting, even seeing Ty Simpson play this year, it is interesting to think about that. Milroe was the ultimate little girl with the curl, right? I mean, he was just so good athletically, and he did some things so well. It was like you couldn't take your eyes off him, but maybe that kind of held him back from being able to win it all or win really big.
Yeah. So a couple of things on that. First of all, Julian Sand was only on campus for a week before Nick Saban retired.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Joe. Hey, look, we're in the entertainment business, so jokes are greater than facts. But I think Nick Saban just kind of had a mental blunder right there. Think about like all of this with Ty Simpson. You got asked this question like, could you have been this good last year? Ty's like, I don't know. He said something to the effect of like he used to come to the facility and just like not be happy and kind of like not be certain of what was going to happen or where he was going to fall. So I think like even though he is playing better now than where Jalen Milroe played, we're just talking about like consistently week in and week out. What really separated the two was Jalen Milroe just had more confidence than Ty Simpson did. That's what it feels like to me, that he was just more confident in his ability and was just going out there and kind of ripping it for better or for worse because he was, hot and cold. But I just feel like that was probably the difference between him and Ty Simpson. Like now Ty Simpson just seems a lot more confident, more sure of himself, asserting himself. And I just feel like that probably was not the case in past years. And I think that's evidence why Jalen Milroe, he was voted a permanent captain of the team, right? Like I feel like his personality and everything that came with it, the leadership intangibles, all of those things, were just at a greater level. So, lessons learned for Ty Simpson is working out for him. It worked out for Jalen Milroe, right? He was a third-round pick. He's doing just fine. The fact that, Ty Simpson has his opportunity now, he's making the best of it, is a great story for him. And the board is definitely going to be able to sell that on the recruiting show for sure.
Yeah, Kennington, Lloyd Smith with us here in Tuscaloosa. All right, to the game this weekend. Tide are a 10.5, 11-point favorite in the game. But there does seem to be a little bit of anxiety, a little anxiousness in terms of what LSU is going to be like, because sometimes these teams, they get a boost in their first game after, a coach is let go. Other times they kick out the tempos, and really you just don't know what it's going to look like, I guess, there, because they've got a different play caller. It's Alex Atkins that takes over. He was the run game coordinator, so you think right off the bat that maybe he leans that way. They'll try to run the ball, try to limit the possessions that Alabama has, but you just don't know what you're going to get out of LSU.
Right. I think one thing that we can't expect is that the vibes around LSU might just be better. Like they might just have like better like team energy. I know it's like the popular thing to do, like the whole like and now they tell us story in journalism, right? Like something happens and it's like okay, and now they tell us like all the details about
yeah, right.
years.
Yeah.
But those details combined with some of the things that Frank Wilson has said in the past week, like just talking about the energy and the camaraderie and the coming together and all the former players that came in and welcome, were welcomed back and spoke to the team and stuff like that. Not saying that that's going to make them play better, but it just feels like the vibes might be better. And we've seen consistently this year that teams, after they fire their coaches, play well, right? UCLA, Virginia Tech, Florida. I'm sure there are some others out there, but those are the three off the top of my head. I mean, when Penn State, fired James Franklin, they went out and played Iowa, down to the last second. Like these teams have kind of like, no one's really like laid down that I can remember of teams that fired their coach. So, I expect LSU to go out there and play hard. And you're right. There's going to be some new things. There's probably going to be some new players getting some opportunities. And if you're an Alabama fan, you're just hoping that this team is focused on LSU, because even though Bama's on a winning streak, they're not good enough to overlook LSU.
No.
Like they've had like at all. So you just hope that Alabama is laser focused on this game, because this is like the same spot they were in a year ago. I know it's a different team, a different circumstances, but a year ago, all Alabama had to do was just knock down, these unranked teams, and they would have been in the exact same situation this year. Probably even higher stakes, because the SEC championship is potentially at stake too. So you hope Alabama comes out focused, but I think LSU is going to come in here and give them a good game. I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah, I think you got to get after them early to kind of knock their dauber down. But if you give them any life, it's going to be an all-day battle. Bring your lunch pail for that one. But if you can jump them early and get them down, then those kids start thinking about where they're going and when they're going to go in a transfer portal and everything else. So it'll be a different animal. Kennington, Lloyd Smith has been our guest. Kenny, I appreciate you, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to break in here. When we come back, Wolverine Dan, if he's still holding, he will be up next. You can jump in behind him. It's the Thom Abraham Show. Back with more right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
The Atlanta Falcons will play on Sunday morning in Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany, against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts bet down from a 6.5 point to a 5.5 point favorite over Atlanta, 48.5 the total. Falcons coming off a 1 point loss at New England, while the Colts dropped a 27-20 decision at Pittsburgh. Coming up in college football Saturday, Alabama laying 10.5 at home with LSU at Bryant-Denny Stadium. The total 49.5. Vanderbilt Commodores a 7-point favorite against the Auburn Tigers at First Bank Stadium in Nashville on Saturday, 45.5 the total. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
The crimson and white jerseys.
Front court to the rack and the plunge.
The sound of a buzzer beater.
Got it to go as the buzzer sounds.
The Roll Tide chant from the crowd. It can only be Alabama basketball. Join the Alabama Crimson Tide right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional, in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s, dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. A mostly sunny sky once again for your Wednesday. And again, temperatures are going to climb into the low and mid 70s, dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s through the overnight early Thursday morning.
Your Fox 54 weather. Only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, longtime friends of the show. To be honest with you, it's been about 20 years that we have been hooked up with TOC, and they just do such a great job. They service the Huntsville Havoc, Alabama A&M, most of the high schools in the region. They got 13 locations all throughout the Tennessee Valley. So if you have an orthopedic problem, if you're considering professional care, really, TOC, it's the only logical choice. You need to contact TOC. Make your appointment. When you need them, they're there. Always in the Tennessee Valley, TOC. Greatest single piece of music ever recorded in the history of mankind. Outstanding. All right, let's get Wolverine Dan in here. Wolverine Dan, welcome to the show. How are you?
That's my wife's class song, believe it or not. That song sucks.
My song was "Stairway to Heaven" was our class song.
Oh yeah, smoking a doobie, man. Yeah. Anyway,
we were smoking a doobie. You didn't say anything about doobies.
Who this guy is in the beginning of the show. I don't know who this guy is, but he portrays. He says he's going to get on the sideline and rip off somebody's headphones. If that person's listening, I don't know who this person is, but listen, you're like the Liberty Mutual commercial. You're going to be on the sideline, and Liu the Miu, he runs on the field trying to get the mascot, and you're the guy behind him trying to stop him from getting the mascot, and I come off the side and just nail you, bro, on your back. That's what's going to happen if you try to pull off headphones. I'll pay to see that. Whatever the amount of money is, I would love to see you get slammed. That'd be great, wouldn't it, Tom?
I can't imagine what it's going to be like when Dallas plays at Detroit later on in the season with you two guys. We're going to have some kind of special action on that.
Well, the only action he's going to see is stars, because he's going to run on that field trying to live with those headphones, and some security guard, which maybe I might even do like a one-time job, show up and be there so I can give him a clothesline. I love it. Yeah, buddy, you pull those headphones off. What a loser. See you later, bro.
Bama Bud hit the text window. Philip needs to back off a half a dose. He's in la-la land about the Dallas Cowboys. Me and my family are season ticket holders since 1989. As long as the Jones family owns the Cowboys, we will never get back to the top. We can hardly give away our tickets anymore. So, Philip, from one diehard Cowboy to another, be real, Bama Bud. Yeah, but Philip is a huge homer. I mean, like how Dan was back when the Lions sucked. Like I am about the Browns. I mean, when you're a homer, you're a homer. Can't do anything about it. All right, hour number one is in the hopper. Justin Furgeson of the Auburn Observer is up next. Well, we got a lot to talk about there on the Thom Abraham Show.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Need tough equipment you can count on? Christopher Equipment has you covered. Whether it's air compressors, trenchers, bucket lifts, concrete tools, generators, skid steers, and more. Serving you with locations in Tullahoma, Shelbyville, Manchester, Fayetteville, and Hazel Green. Christopher Equipment. From job site to backyard, rent or buy, Christopher Equipment delivers the tools you need when you need them. Call 931-455-3900 or visit christopher.equipment today. Christopher Equipment, powering your project.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at the service department at Woody Anderson Ford. When you need service on your vehicle, whether it's a Ford or any other make, you want to get into Woody Anderson Ford, where their expert service technicians will get it diagnosed and repaired right away, the right way. And while you are there, check out all the new and pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson as well. They are ready to make you the best deal possible. Visit Woody Anderson Ford today.
Woody Anderson Ford on Jordan Lane in Huntsville, Hughes Road in Madison, and online at woodyAndersonFord.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Scott Tyson here with your 97.7 ESPN The Zone Sports Minute. Monday Night College Basketball. 15th-ranked Alabama gets a career-high 22 points from LeBaron Philon as the Crimson Tide opened the season with a 91-62 win over North Dakota. 20th-ranked Auburn opened the Stephen Pearl era with a 95-90 overtime win over Bethune-Cookman. Newcomer Keyshawn Hall would lead the Tigers with 28 points, including 16 of 18 free throws. Alabama A&M gets a season-opening 80-60 win over Blue Mountain. Monday Night Football, Arizona's Jacoby Brissett would throw for 2 touchdowns, run for another for the injured Kyler Murray. Cardinals end a 5-game skid, downing the Dallas Cowboys 27-17. College football news, Auburn interim head football coach DJ Durkin announcing that Derek Nix will be the primary play caller on offense for the Tigers as they take on Vanderbilt Saturday. Make sure and download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on. Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Yeah, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. If you missed the open of the show today, I paid off my bet, my World Series bet, by producing the first 7 minutes of the show, which I really didn't do anything.
No, you didn't do anything.
I did. Well, I created that. I created my producer.
You did.
I've created. Maybe we'll play that later in the show again, just so people can hear it that missed it. We played I created my intro for being the producer of the show.
And that was more than enough, in my opinion.
Didn't suck. Although, did I cut something off at the end there? It sounds like it doesn't say. The last thing was supposed to be let the big dog eat. And I think it just says let the big dog, and then the music starts. I think I might have cut it off. I wasn't sure. I don't know.
We'll have to listen to it
We'll have to take a listen to it and check that out. All right, so Auburn goes to Vanderbilt this weekend. And look, they're an upset away from still being a bowl team. You know what I mean? I don't know how motivated they are, if it means anything to them. But they're a 7-point dog at Vandy. They can go in there and win that football game. Then they got the Mercer game. Then they're a bowl team. And then, of course, there's the Iron Bowl. So you never know. But Vandy is playing for a spot in the playoff. The Vandy can't afford any losses. They got to win here. They got to win against Kentucky. And then they got a shot to go to Knoxville with a chance to make the playoff. All right? Because 10-2 teams out of the SEC are making the playoff. Period. End of story. All right. Joining us now to talk about all of that from the Auburn Observer is Justin Furgeson. Ferg, welcome in. How are you?
I'm all right, Tom. How are you?
I am fantastic. I heard the question that, look, let's just start at the beginning. He left them no choice, right? I mean, you and I have been talking about bye week and when it could happen and what would happen and everything else. Hanging on to them. There's so many jobs open right now that are good jobs. Do you really want to be out there hunting for, competing with these other places for a coach and everything else? And then Hugh Freeze left them no option, right? I mean, you can't score 3 points against Kentucky at home, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, and I think John Cohen said it yesterday in his press conference. Is just like the offense had just been to a point where it just it could not continue the way it is. I mean, I think we had talked about it in the past where I felt like Auburn had to hit rock bottom before they pulled the trigger on Hugh Freeze. Well, 3 points against the second worst defense in the SEC. That's rock bottom. That's as rock bottom as it gets. And yeah, you're right. They had no choice other than to, pull the trigger on Sunday and, go ahead and jump into this carousel.
So we dropped in on John Cohen's press conference yesterday for one question. We just slipped in and coincidentally it was you. You asking John Cohen about, tell me why, you think that this is a good job basically. And that quote has been picked up by numerous sites and played. He talked about the fan base and everything else. Look, everybody's got great fans. You know what I mean? I mean, Florida's got great fans. LSU's got great fans. Auburn's got great fans. These people have great fans. The funds are there, you would think, even though I guess they're paying now about $50 million in dead money to coaches. But what was your take on that? What was your motivation in asking that question?
Yeah, I mean, I just think like before it was the lead of my mailbag before the Kentucky game, because I had Auburn fans asking like, hey, do you jump into this carousel knowing how crowded it is right now? Do you really want to compete with Florida, LSU, Penn State, those teams in the marketplace? And my takeaway of it is if you feel like you have to make a decision, if you feel like you have to make that move, and what you have right now needs to change, it doesn't matter who else is in there. Go get the right guy for you. Your competition isn't, can you hire the very best coach of any single team in college football this offseason? That's not the point. The point is, are you making a hire that fits you and can be an upgrade from what you've done? And so that was a real talking point, though, was like, does Auburn really want to jump into the carousel like this? And so when I asked Cohen, I was just like, okay, you guys obviously made that move. You obviously felt like you had to make that decision. Now you're in this carousel. Why do you think Auburn's positioned to compete for good coaching candidates here? And, like you said, I think, yes, you're absolutely right, Tom. Like, there are other teams that have really, really good fans. I do like the point, though, that they've had 19 straight sellouts at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and they've beaten, like, 2 decent teams in that whole stretch.
Yeah, and they keep showing up.
With that. So, and they keep showing up. So, I mean, I think that this is a very loyal fan base that's hungry and desperate to win, and I think that makes them it makes this a very attractive job, even though Auburn football is not what it used to be here these last few seasons.
Some coaches might look at it as being a negative that they're that passionate because great, that's what I need. I need to go there and perform under that scrutiny. But to that point, when you look at where this job is right now, I still feel I look at the jobs that are available right now in tiers. And I do think that the Auburn job is in that first tier with Penn State, LSU, Florida, Auburn. I think those 4 jobs are different than, Vatech, Arkansas, some of the Stanford, some of the other UCLA, some of the other jobs that are open, even though there's some attractiveness to some of those jobs possibly. This is still in that tier. The question is, if you are those top candidates, how do you value the Auburn job and the lack of patience over the last couple of coaching hires versus the other ones?
And I would argue, Tom, I think Auburn has been patient I think they were patient with Hugh Freeze and the fact that this fan base was willing to keep giving them a chance. And literally, it had to get to the bitter end, this with the firing. And so, like you said, they had no other choice. I think that's the thing is just like there might be a reputation that Auburn pulls the trigger on their coaches too quickly. And yeah, maybe that was true for, Gus Malzahn in hindsight just because of what happened afterwards. But
Right.
I think a lot of schools that were in the situation with Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze would have done it. I think they would have done that thing. But to your point, yeah, you're right. Like, I think even if you think Florida, Penn State, and LSU might be better, more attractive jobs than Auburn, I think the Auburn job is much closer to that group than, yes, the Oklahoma States, the Arkansas, the Virginia Techs of the world. This is a top 15 program, and in college football history, you got to act like it. You got to go out there and not be afraid to go out there and do that. And I think the interesting thing is like for coaches, like I do wonder how many coaches out there like are serious candidates, like interviewable candidates at all four of those jobs that we just mentioned. I wonder, because I think fit matters a ton here. And I think maybe what fits at Penn State may not necessarily fit what's Auburn. Maybe it's more in line with what LSU and Florida are doing, but I also think they're in different situations as well. So for Auburn, I think it's just, can you find a coach to help you get to that next level, to start winning again, and then eventually in time compete for championships? Because we know what the ceiling of this program is. The ceiling of this program is playing and competing for not just SEC championships, but for national championships. You just got to find the guy to get you to there, as opposed to some of these other schools that we mentioned in that second tier that we have not seen that ceiling from them, at least in the modern era.
All four of the top tier jobs that are open, all four of those teams feel like in a 12 and certainly in a 16 team playoff that they should be playoff teams 8 out of 10 years, right? I mean, I would think all of those teams, they should be every year playing games at the end of the season after Halloween where, okay, you win this game and you're in, that kind of thing.
Yep.
They should be that close. I would agree with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Justin Furgeson with us here. So DJ Durkin, who, I mean, it was just a few years ago, it was a nasty situation, that went down at Maryland, but he's kind of rehabbed himself here. The defense has played great. Is he, win one of those two games away from being a legit candidate, or is he not a candidate at all? And if he's not a candidate at all, how attractive is it for a potential candidate to say, you know what? You've got a defensive staff in place. They played great defense. I mean, you don't have to come in with a full staff. You come in, a new staff comes in, and you say, DJ and your defensive staff, you guys all stay. That end of the hallway, you guys stay. I mean, is that something that's reasonable that could happen?
It could. I mean, I think Auburn's in a spot, though, where, like, you've done, like, if you want to go full reset, that makes sense. But, yeah, I mean, DJ Durkin has a very good defense at Auburn. I think he's a very good defensive coordinator. I question, what he is as a head coach. I mean, yes, what happened, the Jordan McNair death, the investigation after that, the fallout from when he was initially going to be brought back in Maryland, all of that was bad. You don't have to go there. But even before that, on the field, Maryland had struggled. I mean, he had back-to-back losing seasons as coach. It was kind of like the Kevin Steele situation a few years ago, where it's like, awesome defensive coordinator. Well, the last time this dude was a head coach, wasn't great. Do you want to go in that direction when you want to have a team that wins? Can you go find somebody who's a head coaching winner right now? And I think that's the thing. I think DJ Durkin could be a candidate. I think it would have to take a run in the table towards the end of the this season to be like, okay, this guy is seriously one of our top names. He was asked about the permanent job yesterday. He said, hey, I'm just focused on Vanderbilt. And I think that's the way to go. I think that's the right way to approach it. I do know, though, for Auburn, it's just like, at the end of the day, if they lose these games down the stretch, it's in a losing season, there's not going to be as much of an appetite, I think, where it's like, okay, you have this carousel, you have this scope of coaches. I think you have a pretty good candidate list out there that would make sense. Do you need to just automatically go with the internal hire, the promotion, when there's other options out there? I think that would be the question mark there with Durkin. I think he's going to get an opportunity to prove himself over these next few weeks. But from everything I've heard and kind of seen, like, he will be considered as a candidate. I don't think he is in the top tier at the moment.
By the way, breaking news from the NFL as the trade deadline is underway there. The Cowboys are trading for Quinnen Williams, former Tide defensive lineman. Quinnen Williams has been traded from the Jets to the Cowboys. So we get that out there for our listeners. And Yeah, that's a much bigger splash for the Cowboys than picking up a backup linebacker from the worst defense in the league in the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Cowboys get that. No details yet on what they're sending for Quinnen Williams, but that's a pretty good pickup for Dallas. I'm with Troy Aikman. If I was Jerry, I would be canceling any trades because he's myopic at 3-5-1 if he thinks they're going to the playoff at this point. But that's a whole other story. All right, can they entertain names from smaller school? Can they do that again? I mean, can they talk about the kid at North Texas? I mean, can they look at guys like that, or does this have to be either one of the big names that's out of coaching right now, or one of the big names that is recently out of coaching, i.e., a James Franklin or somebody like that? I mean, what kind of a hit does this one have to be?
I don't know if you necessarily have to sign the biggest name, and I don't know if you have to get somebody who's necessarily, a huge name right now. One of the more interesting things that John Cohen said yesterday in his press conference when talking about the timeline of when he wants to hire, he says, okay, as close to after the Iron Bowl as possible is what we want to do. We want to go ahead and get that in. He said, of the guys we are going to interview outside of this building, I would anticipate all of them would be either getting ready to coach in a bowl or coach in the playoff. So that would eliminate out the Jimbos and the James Franklins of the world. Now we'll see if they hold to that. But I do think the big thing for Auburn right now, and I wrote about this when Freeze got fired on Sunday, the big thing for Auburn right now is they got to go find somebody who wins right now, who is a winner. And I think you can do that from the group of 5 ranks, but it's got to be the right fit. When they hired Hugh Freeze, look, let's be very, very clear about this. They did not hire Hugh Freeze because of the work he did at Liberty. They hired Hugh Freeze because he had been what he had done at Ole Miss, a decade earlier. So I think you don't need to necessarily be scared of the group of 5 model. I mean, you look at the college football coaches who are in the top 10, top 15 right now. How many of those guys were sitting super successful power conference head coaches before they made their jump to where they are right now? Mm-hmm. Not very many of them. You got Kalen DeBoer, but there's not very many of them past that. So, I think for Auburn, I think you just got to find somebody who's fit, but who is built to win right now. Where a guy like James Franklin, where a guy like Jimbo Fisher, where some of those would I think go, it's like, okay, what happened towards the end? Like, they may have won in the past, but like what's happened most recently? And I felt like you kind of ran into that with Freeze this last time. It's like, oh, his best days were a little behind him. People forget that before they hired Freeze, Liberty lost like their last 3 games under him and got blown out in one of them. So I do think there's going to be more of an appetite for, hey, let's find somebody who's winning right now, whether that be from the group of 5 level or the power conference level. I do think that's going to be the priority in this search, though.
All right, I'll throw 2 names out there that are coming from different angles. Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State. I don't know what his chops are when it comes to, coming over here, but, Kalen DeBoer is doing fine. So it's not the end of the world about that, and then John Sumrall, who is an Alabama native. He's a Huntsville guy. He's a Grissom High guy that has, done a great job everywhere he has gone and seems to be coming up the ranks pretty good. I would think that if they were willing to be patient with a guy like that he might do some pretty special things. So in your mind, if you're the guy, you're advising Cohen on this hire. If you're talking about a Kenny Dillingham or you're talking about a John Sumrall, who do you like?
I like John Sumrall, and I'll tell you this for anybody listening right now. John Sumrall is the name I have heard the most the last few days, as one that keeps coming up with a bunch of different people as this makes sense. This would be a fit at Auburn. This is a guy who would want a job like Auburn, who wants to coach in the SEC. But like you said, he's from Alabama. He inherited a Troy program. Troy had 3 straight losing seasons when he got there. They win the Sun Belt back-to-back years, double-digit win seasons. Had a good year last year at Tulane. I know he took a bad loss this past week against Tulane, but he's got them positioned for another 10-win season down there. He's a guy that is hungry to coach in the SEC. He's young. He's defensive-minded. He's kind of old school in his approach to things. And I said this, I wrote this over the weekend, and this is not a one-to-one comparison. It's not a perfect, I'm not saying this guy's going to end up being the same guy, but if you look at his background and what he was before, right now, it strikes a lot of parallels to when Auburn hired Pat Dye in the early 80s. In that this was a group of 5, mid-major head coach who had been an assistant and a former player in the SEC, who got an opportunity to come here, one with defense, with a hungry, kind of mentality, and the Auburn fan base latched on to him. So that's the one I would do. You mentioned Kenny Dillingham. I love Kenny Dillingham as an option. I think he's done great work at Arizona State. He obviously had his 1 year at Auburn, where he was the quarterbacks coach, and he did well there. I wonder, like him, like a Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, like a Brent Key at Georgia Tech, 3 names there that I think all would be great fits for what Auburn want to do. They're currently at their alma maters. That's a tough situation to leave, but Auburn could give them those access and those resources. So I like Summerall a lot. I think he checks a ton of boxes. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's the name I've heard the most in the early stages of this search. But I think they're gonna cast that net out to several possibilities, and guys like Dillingham I think would be considered.
Yeah, and to your point about alma mater, I'm just going to throw this out there. Kentucky loses to Florida, Vandy, and Louisville, which they'll be an underdog in all 3 of those games. At what point in time do the folks at Kentucky say, hey, we're going to lose out on our alum. We're going to lose out on John Summerall. He's going to take the LSU or the Auburn job. We need to go ahead and pull the trigger now. It's been long enough, and let's get him back to Lexington. And you just wonder whether or not something like that would happen. And all of a sudden, because we're not done with these jobs opening up. No. Plus, we got guys that are going to leave to take other jobs. These coaches that are going to leave are going to open up other jobs. So I just wonder, if Kentucky would throw their hat in the Summerall ring if that were to happen, if they felt like they were going to, because now it's going to be another 3 or 4 years before they can get their hands on him at best, if he were to go to Auburn or LSU.
Yeah, I know, and I'm interested to see that because I do think Auburn is a much better job than Kentucky.
Absolutely.
I know they just lost to them, but it's a much better job. And I do think, you part of the reason why part of the advantage of Auburn getting into the mix now is that you can already start kind of figuring that out before more teams jump in. I would expect Summerall to be mentioned at LSU just because he's winning at Tulane. I do wonder if LSU wants to hire the Tulane coach. Florida would make sense as well, but they just kind of went a similar route with Billy Napier, and I would imagine Florida wanted to be splashier. But I do think he does fit with what Auburn wants to do. And I think, if it's early, they're not going to make a hire for another 3 or 4 weeks, at the earliest, 4 weeks at the earliest. It's early, but if I had to say who I think the very early favorite is, it would probably be Summerall.
John Cohen indicated or made it sound like, and I wasn't sure if his Pinocchio nose was growing a little bit, that he hadn't even considered or thought about other potential candidates for the job. There is no way in the last 3 or 4 weeks that John Cohen had started making a little bit of a list in his mind, at least. Yeah. I'm not saying contacting agents, talking to Jimmy Sexton, but I'm just saying, don't tell me that he hasn't been thinking about this for a few weeks.
And you mentioned Sexton there. Freeze is a Sexton client. I would be very surprised if Auburn went down that road right after that. I'm just going to throw that out there.
It's hard not to, though. That's the problem. I mean, he's got so many guys. It's hard not to.
He does have so many guys, but I don't know if Auburn has ever hired back-to-back Sexton clients in the past. I think that's a pattern to kind of keep an eye on.
Why not James Franklin? Because, I mean, look, you get to 9-10 wins. He's going to give you 9-10 wins a year. And, yeah, I know that he hasn't won those, and there's a lot more top 10, top 15 games that you play in the SEC than he's been playing, at Penn State. But it feels like he is going to give you 9 or 10 wins a year, 11 wins a year, and have you in the conversation at the end of every year. And if he wins some of these big games, all of a sudden, you are definitely a playoff team or moving on. The guy was in the national semifinal last year in the national semifinal.
Yeah, no, I think he would make sense for a place like Auburn for sure. I know people would scoff at the fact that it ended very poorly at Penn State. He could never really quite win the very big one there, but yeah, Auburn just needs to kind of win again, first and foremost. So I don't think it would be a backhand at all. I just thought it was very interesting that Cohen kind of pointed towards sitting, current coaches right now as ones that they would probably prioritize. But yeah, I mean, I think Franklin makes a lot of sense for a lot of these jobs. And you talk about that kind of ripple effect right now, like, guys move to other jobs. Like I think Franklin is a guy who would make a lot of sense in a lot of these places. Virginia Tech, if Kentucky came open, that would make a lot of sense as well. You can kind of see how it all kind of spirals from there. But no, I don't think it would be a terrible hire whatsoever.
By the way, Peter Burns is on ESPN SportsCenter right now saying that Auburn is the most stable of any of the open SEC jobs. So we're talking about Arkansas, LSU, and Florida. He's saying that Auburn is the most stable of the SEC jobs that is open. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting take.
I think it's more interesting than LSU because of all the political stuff going on there right now.
Yeah, right.
Florida's kind of an interesting cat. I don't really know what all goes in with the inner workings of Florida. I think Arkansas is it's just not quite as good of a job overall. So that's very interesting. You don't usually hear that when you hear about Auburn.
No, that's what I'm saying.
On the coaching market.
Those two words don't go together a lot. And that was interesting. All right, before I let you go, why did it take 45 minutes to beat Bethune-Cookman, for God's sakes, last night? What's up with that?
Because Bethune-Cookman played a really, really good basketball game, and Auburn really didn't. I thought defensively Auburn regressed in a lot of the areas that they struggled with against Oklahoma State. Did well against Memphis last week, but kind of gotten back to some of those old habits. I think Auburn struggled to shoot threes, hit threes. Bethune-Cookman was a terrible three-point shooting team last year, and yet they came in and hit like 12 in this game. So I think they hit some big shots, made some big plays. I think Auburn really struggled to defend and kind of adjust, and weren't hitting their jumpers. And so it had to kind of be a grinded out affair late where you just had to make some big plays. I think Bethune-Cookman might be an NCAA tournament team, but it is definitely something they have a lot to work on. Good news is they've got some time to do it, especially with a quick turnaround. They play Merrimack on Thursday night.
Always a pleasure. Justin Furgeson has been our guest. Ferg, we appreciate you. And obviously now this topic switches for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. It's going to be very, very interesting for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
All right, man. Thank you. Just go to the auburnobserver.com to stay on top of all of that stuff from Auburn and what's going on there in the coaching search. All right, we get a break in here. When we come back, phone lines go open the rest of the show now. 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977. You can also text the show, 7329-TA-SHOW. I'll read those on the air, 732-982-7469. Go ahead and jump on board, and we'll get you on the air right after this on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
The Atlanta Falcons will play on Sunday morning in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany, against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts bet down from a 6.5 point to a 5.5 point favorite over Atlanta, 48.5 the total. Falcons coming off a 1 point loss at New England, while the Colts dropped a 27-20 decision at Pittsburgh. Coming up in college football Saturday, Alabama laying 10.5 at home with LSU at Bryant-Denny Stadium. The total 49.5. Vanderbilt Commodores a 7-point favorite against the Auburn Tigers at First Bank Stadium in Nashville on Saturday, 45.5 the total. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at the service department at Woody Anderson Ford. When you need service on your vehicle, whether it's a Ford or any other make, you want to get into Woody Anderson Ford, where their expert service technicians will get it diagnosed and repaired right away, the right way. And while you are there, check out all the new and pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson as well. They are ready to make you the best deal possible. Visit Woody Anderson Ford today.
Woody Anderson Ford on Jordan Lane in Huntsville, Hughes Road in Madison, and online at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Tide fans. Here comes the Tide. Let's roll. And one for the win. Ball game. Grab your hard hats and tune in for blue collar basketball with the Crimson Tide all season long on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know, the holiday season is just around the corner. So come to Owen Home Appliance Center and get the complete Frigidaire kitchen. You buy the fridge, the range, and the microwave, and you get a dishwasher free. Or maybe you need a commercial kitchen for that huge family coming in for the holiday season. Let them help you with brands like Viking, Miele, KitchenAid, Z-Line, and Cafe. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. That's what Owen Home Appliance Center stands for. Just 8 miles south of the river on 231.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com. Lake Gunnersville Ace Hardware is your locally owned and operated hardware store. We're not just about numbers, we're about helping neighbors, because our Ace Hardware store is part of your community. We're committed to being the helpful place by offering our customers personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience. As the helpful hardware folks in your neighborhood, we promise that helping you is the most important thing we have to do today. Stop by and visit Lake Gunnersville Ace Hardware today, 1536 Blunt Avenue in Gunnersville.
Oftentimes, the wheelchairs our veterans and first responders receive from their healthcare providers are subpar at best. Some are falling apart, with a years-long waiting list for a new one. This lag causes a tremendous amount of stress for our heroes and creates a burden for their caregivers. Isolation leads to depression. We build what they need to get outdoors, hunting, fishing, or playing sports. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment. I've known Ross for a while now, and I know one thing. I have seen Valley Equipment grow from a relatively small operator to a huge operator that takes care of everybody in the Valley with 2 locations now, not only on the South Parkway, but also on the North Parkway. You got to see that facility that they've got up there. So whether you're a homeowner looking for small equipment or whether you're a contractor looking for a big-time lift or big-time equipment, they've got it all at Valley Equipment Rental.
So I'm a rebel and rogue, and I'm
welcome back to Thom Abraham Show. Here's an interesting note. Brandon points this out. This will be the 7th straight Iron Bowl with a unique head coaching matchup. Saban versus Malzahn. Sarkisian versus Malzahn in 2020. Was Saban sick? Saban was out with the COVID. Saban versus Harsin. 2022, Saban versus Cadillac. 23, Saban versus Freeze. 24, DeBoer versus Freeze. 25, DeBoer versus Durkin. That's pretty good. Did Saban miss? He missed the game with the COVID. I think he missed the game with the COVID. That's what happened there. And Phillip has responded to the trade of Quinnen Williams from the Jets to the Cowboys. Quote, Cowboys just made a huge trade with the Jets for DT Quinnen Williams. Was it over when the Russians bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no, it ain't over now. When the Russians bombed, when did the Russians bomb Pearl Harbor? Oh, gosh. Was it over when the Russians bombed Pearl Harbor? No. What about when the Japanese took down the Twin Towers? No. Goodness gracious. All right. The guy yesterday was getting a lot of love for being the best caller on the show. I was like 2 or 3 people called that said that Grumpy was the best caller that we have. And so I've been racking my brain since then trying to think of a better caller than Grumpy. And to be honest with you, I'm having a hard time coming up with one myself. Grumpy's up next. Grumpy, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, thanks for the love, guys. I want to touch real quick on the whole YouTube thing with ESPN.
Oh, gosh.
Being so sports related.
Yeah.
If Disney owns Hulu, which I believe they do,
why
would they even want to do business with YouTube TV unless YouTube TV pays so much more than the price of competition? Why would you? I mean, I guess they could sell more commercials on ESPN if they have the YouTube TV audience.
No, there's no doubt they're doing this. That ESPN is specifically the people who are now signing up for ESPN Plus with Hulu or Hulu Plus with ESPN. That's exactly what they wanted from this. They're forcing people to go to Hulu, and then you had Greg Sankey put out a tweet on Saturday morning, no big deal, just switch to Hulu Plus, easy peasy, something like that. And it's like, of course you did. You're in bed with them and you make $4 million a year. But you're right. I keep trying to think that what is the incentive for ESPN to give their programming to YouTube? There's no incentive that they're competing with YouTube, even though everybody who has Hulu is saying that Hulu is much worse than YouTube TV in terms of the platform, buffering, things like that. And I'm going to wait 1 week because I'm going to Florida and I'm not going to miss anything. I'm going to wait 1 week. When I get back, the last thing I'm hanging on for is I have Sunday Ticket. That's the thing through YouTube. And so I don't.
Well, let me say this too, that, as a business model, I could see how you would want to sell more commercial, more viewers watch the commercials. You could tell the people that are buying the commercials if we have YouTube TV. But if you hold out for a few months, a lot of those sports watchers are going to make the switch and they're no longer going to be on YouTube TV. And that whole argument goes out the window. So either YouTube TV has to cough it up now or learn to live without ESPN. Period.
I wish I knew what the number would be. If YouTube TV told me right now that it was going to be $7 a month more, okay, fine. Let's go.
Yeah, sure.
I don't care. I mean, let's go. Sure. Why would it be? Yeah. It's $30. It's $29.95 for ESPN, Hulu Plus with ESPN, and to get all of that stuff back. Apparently, the ESPN Plus that I pay, whatever I pay for through YouTube, does not give me access. It's not the quote unquote ESPN app. That's only part of my YouTube package. So, but if YouTube, what are we talking about? That's what I want to know. We talking about $5 a month, $7 a month?
Yeah.
How much more do I have to pay to just keep it going? Let's go. But I don't know what to switch to. I mean, I'm going to go DirecTV or go back to cable or something.
I need to change gears here, man. I need to change gears. And real quick, last thing. 2011, 2012, and 2013. Those are the years that James Franklin coached at Vandy. That's my understanding. 2011, 12, and 13.
Mm-hmm.
He got 2011, he went 6-7. And then in 12 and 13, he went 9-4.
Right.
So, you keep saying, Tom, I like you, but you are the huge Crimson. You look through Crimson glasses, man. So take it any way you want. You keep saying 10 wins a year when you're talking to these people that you interview. James Franklin's going to get you 9 or 10 a year.
Yeah.
He didn't get 9 a year. He didn't average 9 a year. So
it was Vanderbilt. It was Vandy. With the talent that Auburn has.
Auburn, on. Stop with all that.
Auburn's a lot bigger than Vandy.
Auburn is 22-21-1 against Vandy.
Yes, but you're going way back.
Auburn is Vandy.
You're going way back. Auburn, no, Vandy doesn't have no national championships. Vandy isn't in the. Auburn has been in the SEC championship game 4 or 5 times.
This is not where I wanted this to go. What I wanted to say is Thom Abraham, Captain Crimson, wants James Franklin at Auburn because he will never beat Alabama. He will never win the big game. It will be his Ohio State thorn in his side, and that's what you want.
That's not why I want him there. I just think he's a guy that'll win a lot of football games.
No, let me finish, and then you got the mic, man. In 2011, in the SEC, Vandy went 2-6. In 2012, they went 5-3. Yeah. And in 2013, they went 4-4. So he won a bunch of games at Vandy, but he went 4-4 his last season, and he got the job at Penn State because they needed somebody with a clean record that was Lily White that could be a nurse and quit all the bad press at Penn State. I don't believe Penn State would even look at him for his wins and losses. He wouldn't have gotten the Penn State job. He got the Penn State job because he had some wins and he was Lily White with his reputation. That's how he wound up at Penn State. Auburn University does not need James Franklin. Anyway, thanks, man.
Well, first of all, he ended up at Penn State. It was his dream job. All right. That was always his dream job, was to be the head coach at Penn State. That's where he's from, that area. Okay. That was his dream job, to be at Penn State. He would have done anything to get there. When he was going 5-3, 4-4 in the SEC, Vandy had come off of decades of winning 1 or 2 or 0 SEC games a year. Every year. And he didn't have Diego Pavia, where they caught lightning in a bottle with that kid. And I don't know what's going to happen next for Clark Lee and Vandy. I don't know if there's another Diego Pavia out there. He went 9-3 2 years with Vandy. This is an outlier, what we're seeing right now from Vandy. He wins 9 or 10 games at Auburn every year. Every year he's got to win 9 or 10 games. Now, as far as me wanting him there because of he can't beat Alabama, I never even consider that. Look, whoever goes there is going to have a hard time beating Alabama. Who's going to go to John Summerall going to go there and beat Alabama? We don't know. Is Chad Morris going to go there and beat Alabama? We don't know. Who's going to go there? Is DJ Durkin going to beat Alabama? Who knows? He's got a shot this year. But it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not James Franklin can beat Alabama. That's the other reason I'd like to see him there, is because I know he'll pick up the phone and talk to me. And it would be nice to be able to talk to the head coach at Auburn on a more regular basis. Elijah is up next. Elijah, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Good. I'd like for you to comment on the ABC, how they're doing the games. All right. So it's changed. I used to be able to you'd watch the game and they would have a view where you could see how the teams were set up. Mm-hmm. And now seems like half the time, or at least a quarter of the time, you barely go to that view, and then the ball snapped. You really don't see, or I don't have enough time to really see everything that's going on.
So you're saying you like a wider shot. You want more of a, you don't like the close up shot. The way they're covering the game. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm on a cell phone and you're breaking up on me. I couldn't see. Well, I don't really care about showing all of the players on the sideline, or most of the time the coaches on the sideline, or all the fans in the stands. I mean, a view of that is fine, but then they have all their yada yada yada. But this year it's really changed. I watched more than I wanted to admit, but like when Tennessee was one of the few times they started getting going against Oklahoma, and they were going fast, and the cameras would just not get on, would not show the field. They'd be showing other stuff. And
part of that,
I think it's gotten worse.
Yeah, part of that, Elijah. First of all, you sound old school, which is okay because I'm old school too. But it sounds like you're a little bit old school here. And here's the situation. They've got 13 or 14 cameras now, including 2 sky cams that are covering these games. And by God, they're going to use them all. I mean, these young producers, they're going to make sure that they're using every camera, every angle. I remember it used to be every once in a while they'd show you an opposite angle and they would put on the screen reverse angle so that you would know that it was a reverse angle. Now they don't even do that, right? So we're seeing it from behind, we're seeing it from on top, we're seeing the kids in the crowd, we're seeing the sideline action. So it used to be you cover a game, we had 6 cameras on a game back in the day, and so you got a pretty steady shot of the game. Now they're going for the experience. They're immersing you in the entire experience. So that's, I think, and here's the other reason. The young folks, and I'm not saying this disparagingly, but I'm looking at one right now. The young folks have a short attention span. You know what I mean? They want to see, they need to see all of this crap. They have they want it to, and believe it or not, Elijah, here's the other thing. Video games. The video game culture now, they've been playing for sometimes some of them all their lives, 20, 25 years of video games. They want that video game look. They like that high look from behind, all those above camera looks and all of these different, the lines on the field and everything that they show when the routes and everything else. And so they make the game now looks more like a video game when you watch it. Yeah. And they have to do that to keep it's not for you and me. It's for the young folks to keep their attention. That's just the way it is.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they got the attention of a gnat.
Yeah. Well, the views are better. The cameras are so much better.
Oh,
it's unbelievable how you can see what you can see now.
Yeah, it's so clear.
I wish they would show the view so you could watch the game. I mean, really, you're watching it for the game, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be able to just see how they're lining up. I do like to watch Read and React with Roman and
Cole.
But I was watching the other night. I said I didn't even see that view. How are you even showing?
Well,
that was not on TV.
Yeah, no, they got the All 22. So there's something called it's Coach's Tape or the All 22. ESPN makes the All 22 view available to the to broadcast talent so that you can look at the All 22 and see a lot more than what you would see. But that would be if they showed the All 22, if they showed the game that way, you'd lose a lot of people. They got to keep the women. Look, I'm not being disparaging towards women, but you got to keep the women involved too. And the women want all of the different views and looks and everything else to make it. It's more of a show now than it used to be. It's not just a game. Go to the game. If you want to sit there and see the game and see it all develop, you go to the game. But when you watch it on TV, and look, Elijah, who are we to talk? The ratings are the high. There's more people watching college and pro football now than ever in the history of ever. So, I guess they know what they're doing. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right. It's a good job by Elijah. Sounded like a first-time caller. To Elijah. Mac is up next. Mac, welcome to the show. How are you?
All right, Tom, real quick. Did you not understand the reference to Russians bombing Pearl Harbor?
No, I did not in any way, shape, or form understand.
You and I are the exact same age.
Okay.
You're going to kick yourself when you don't remember this. In Animal House, when John Belushi's character was, he said when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor.
Right.
So whoever your caller was, he was pulling from that.
That was Philip. That was great. Yeah, that's right. When the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, I remember that in Animal House. Talking about a 50-year-old movie.
Yeah, they were going, that's not right. He goes, he's on a roll.
Let him go. He's on a. Remember when he checks it when he says synchronize their watches? He's like, everybody synchronize your watches, and they all look at their watch. It's like exactly 1 o'clock, and John Belushi's watch is on 2:30 or something.
Oh, absolutely. Again, you and I are the same age. We watched that probably 20 times when we were 18 years old.
Oh yeah. I appreciate that, man. Thanks. Max straightened me out on it. I completely forgot about that. I don't know how many times I saw Animal House. When the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. That's probably what he wanted to say. When the Germans. Philip says, Grumpy just kicked your Alabama-loving arse. Good job by Grumpy. It's not because it doesn't have anything to do with Alabama. I just think it would be a good choice. I think it would be somebody that would go win you a lot of games. I don't know what else it would do, but he'd win you a lot of games. Text window. I watched a game on regular YouTube Saturday that was Skycam only. No commentators or anything. I liked it. I wonder if that's squeezed through. I wonder if somehow that could, because I watched all of the games this past Saturday, the 3 games that were on ABC, I could see. I saw the Tennessee-Oklahoma game. I saw the cocktail party. I saw the Texas-Vandy game. The 3 ABC games came through. ESPN only feeds didn't come through. Now, last night, the Cowboys and the Cardinals was on ESPN and ABC, but I didn't get an ABC option on the ESPN Plus app so I couldn't see the game. But it was weird. Last Saturday, look, I can live without it. I'm getting hockey. I still get hockey on the ESPN Plus app, so I can get my hockey the rest of the week. The NFL game is on Prime on Thursday. I'm okay there. Friday, I'm leaving immediately after the show to head to Florida. Saturday, I'll be at my son-in-law's house watching on his 80-inch screen the LSU-Alabama game there. I don't think they have YouTube TV. I better check with them. Sunday's the NFL. No problem there with the ESPN. So then I'm gone for a week, and then I come back. If this thing isn't settled in 2 weeks, when I get back, if this isn't settled, then I got to make a decision. And my lean right now is DirecTV, which also streams. That's my lean right now, is DirecTV. We get a break, come back. Final segment next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our workhorse special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. Great news. This offer is now extended through the end of December. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor. We're here for you.
Our high school streaming network heads into the postseason. The first round of the playoffs features Buckhorn at Hartselle over the airwaves of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Madison Academy is at home to Hatton. Randolph is at West Morgan. And Sparkman, the region champs of 7A Region 4, plays host to Daphne. Download our app and follow the action all season long. Just search 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
At Stella at 5 Points, living isn't just about having an apartment, it's about living artfully. Imagine waking up with the upscale feel of Atlanta or Nashville right here in the heart of Huntsville. Modern, stylish apartments, open layouts, stainless steel appliances, and resort-inspired amenities. Nestled in vibrant 5 Points, you'll enjoy walkability, parks, dining, and quick access to downtown without the chaos. Stella at 5 Points. Live artfully. Live Stella.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943.
Member FDIC.
Hey there, everybody. Bob Baumhauer here, letting you know that we understand that times are tough and we truly believe value matters. So, by popular demand, we brought back our Inflation Bites menu featuring scratch-made meals that will make the whole family smile, and your wallet, too. Menu items start at just $7.99, and any entree comes with a free beverage. Try our classic tailgate burger for just $8.99, or our hearty Bam Bam chicken platter for $9.99. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by my friends at All About Water LLC. Well, you can learn more about them at allaboutwaterllc.com. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but look, they do everything that has anything to do with water, whether it's building a pond or refreshing your pond or a water feature on your property or drainage on your property. Whatever it is involving water, they do it. That includes irrigation, maintenance of your irrigation, installation of irrigation. All About Water LLC.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by the award-winning service department at Woody Anderson Ford. That's right. They take care of the routine checkups. They keep your Ford or other brand in perfect working order. But if you have a bigger problem, they got these expert service technicians that can diagnose it, use state-of-the-art tools to get it resolved. I take my vehicles there. I've been doing it, for nearly 20 years now. It's Woody Anderson Ford and the service department. Second to none. Check out Woody Anderson Ford today. Kerry says, I wonder how many NFL-only fans are missing games. Could the NFL put pressure on Disney? Well, it's only Monday Night Football. That's all they've got is Monday Night Football. Now, that's a thing. They got all that other programming, but the only game they have is Monday Night Football. So ESPN, ABC, that's all they're getting caught there. Some people are saying that they watched on the Skycam on YouTube TV. They were able to watch some of the games on the Skycam. One person said that Nufu is still the best deal in sports viewing. I'm trying not to do anything illegal. My criminal days are over. A bunch of Alabama fans are saying that they wish they had given Hugh Freeze a 10-year extension. Do I got time to slide Lynch in? He only needs 18 seconds. LSU Lynch, close us out. What do you got?
So I remember I'm going to tell you what a chicken drop is. I ain't got but 2 minutes. So, because you ain't from the South Side, you sure as hell ain't redneck. So let me tell you. Number one, this involves a lot of beer. Number two, you got to have some chicken. Number three, you just need some little cage right there, little tent. You get some cardboard. You block it off with some numbers, okay? So you put the chicken in there, so you gamble on where the chicken is going to poop on what number. Go LSU.
Yeah, no, I haven't experienced that. Been in the South for 25 years. Have not experienced that one.
And I thought I was missing out on a delicacy.
You could tell them how red my neck is. Let me tell you. I come from the redneck part of New York. I can guarantee you that. All right, we're done. We'll do it again tomorrow. It was a really good show today. It must be because I produced it.
Spot on.
Have a great day, everybody.
Scott Tyson here with your 97.7 ESPN The Zone Sports Minute. Monday Night College Basketball, 15th-ranked Alabama gets a career-high 22 points from LeBaron Philon as the Crimson Tide opened the season with a 91-62 win over North Dakota. 20th-ranked Auburn opened the Stephen Pearl era with a 95-90 overtime win over Bethune-Cookman. Newcomer Keyshawn Hall would lead the Tigers with 28 points, including 16 of 18 free throws. Alabama A&M gets a season-opening 80-60 win over Blue Mountain. Monday Night Football, Arizona's Jacoby Brissett would throw for 2 touchdowns, run for another for the injured Kyler Murray. Cardinals end a 5-game skid, downing the Dallas Cowboys 27-17. College football news, Auburn interim head football coach DJ Durkin announcing that Derek Nix will be the primary play caller on offense for the Tigers as they take on Vanderbilt Saturday. Make sure and download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today.
Tide fans.
Here comes the Tide.
Let's roll.
And one for the win.
Grab your hard hats and tune in for blue collar basketball with the Crimson Tide all season long on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel and McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyers.
We're studying game film,
Seems to me there's more to college than just hitting the books.
scribbling X's and O's, even running wind sprints to get our voices in shape. All this for our coverage of college football just for you.
Just leave it to the profession.
From spring drills to hoisting the national championship trophy. When you want football, you want 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Continue to be a dumpster fire.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All them dogs are counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Cowbells and swamp, the ag is wrong. There's nothing like the SEC. The weekend's full of surprises, from Williams Price to Death Valley. On the Feinbaum Show, Paul's on the road. If he don't get the best of me, call Paul. He'll make sense of it all. Needles up on Rocky Top, the Razorbacks are hard to stop. War Eagles soaring in the wind. Tigers rocking in Missouri, Wildcats are grinning too. Boomer Sooner rolling up again. Well, Bevo's bound to hook 'em. He'll catch you if you're not looking. Watch out for the tide that's rolling in. The weekend's full of surprises, from big upsets to rivalries. On the Feinbaum Show, heads are gonna roll. If they don't get the best of me, call Paul. He'll make sense of it all. Yeah, call Paul. He'll make sense of it all. Yeah, call Paul.
Welcome into the Paul Feinbaum Show.